We're going to look at a product that helps you wirelessly charge your phone today on the Adventures of Mac and Cheese.
Mac and Cheese!
Hey guys, I'm coming to you from Mac and Cheese World headquarters in the evening. It's the only time I could get to make this video, and I'm really excited to do so. Now, I know you say the Mach-E has a wireless charger built into the car, comes with every Mach-E, but I really haven't been that satisfied with my wireless charger, and I'm hoping that this solution from Twraps, this product, is going to solve some of the problems I have. So before we get to this product, I think it's important to talk a little bit about why wirelessly charging your phone is kind of important. So, you know, if you use Android Auto or CarPlay wirelessly in the Mach-E, which you can do for both, you'll find very quickly that they drain your phone quite quickly. They exercise everything on the phone at the same time. And so you'll find that you'll reach your destination and not get lost and have all these great tunes and podcasts while you go there. But when you get there, your phone will be dead for the rest of the day. So that's where wireless charging comes in, and it can be really cool and convenient. One other thing we got to talk about, though, is that there's some differences between Android phones and iPhones when it comes to wireless charging. They both use the same standard for actually getting energy into the phone wirelessly, which is called Qi, or QI is pronounced Qi, charging. However, Apple added something to the back of their iPhones inside the phone and also in cases that you can buy called Magsafe. And what that does is it precisely aligns the phone over charging coils that also use Magsafe. So the phone always is in the right spot and it charges up. It's critical that your phone remain in the right spot over the wireless charging pad. Otherwise, what you're going to find is that the phone either heats up and doesn't charge very much, or it'll become dislodged and won't charge at all. Okay, with that background, I just want to say that I have an iPhone, and we're going to be doing this test using my iPhone, which is an iPhone 13 Pro. iPhone 14 is pretty much very similar, and iPhones have had MagSafe wireless charging since the iPhone 12. So these results and my experience should be pretty much applicable, at least if you have an iPhone. If you have an Android phone, just note that your phone isn't going to stay over any of these chargers, and you might want to invest in a ring that will turn your phone into kind of the same system as you'll find with MagSafe. And you can get those on Amazon. I'll put a link to it in the description. All right, so let's take a look at what comes with the Mach-E and its charging pad, and I'll tell you what I don't like about it. So you see the Mach-E comes with a center charging pad in the middle of the car in the center console right underneath the main screen. You'll see that the charging pad has a rubberized cover over it, and this cover is divided into three sections, two horizontal ones and then one vertical one at the top that's smaller. The horizontal ones have one side which has a battery icon on it, and that's where you're going to put your phone in order to try and charge it. The other side is made just for storage of small items and a convenience feature. Now, if you take out the rubberized pad, you'll see underneath it where the actual charging coils are and the wireless charging pad is for the car. It's on the left side, and it lines up with that charging rubberized pad that you put your phone on. Now, it's important to note that the forward charging pad itself does not have any Magsafe-compatible magnets on it. So when you put your iPhone down there, it's not actually going to lock in and stay in the exact place where it should be over the coils. This is actually important because one of the main problems I've found with the charging pad is that it's nearly impossible to position and have your phone stay in the correct spot over the charging coils. And I just got to say, I don't know if it's because of the placement of the phone that it moves around too much because it doesn't have MagSafe, or because it's outputting too much power to the phone. I don't know if it's because of some other reason where the pad isn't following the Qi standard or is interacting in some weird way with the iPhone. But I got to tell you, this charging solution from Ford absolutely positively does not work reliably. And every time I've used it, I've always found and discovered after I put the phone down and it looks like it's charging, I pick up the phone and it stopped charging for some reason, and I never get a full charge on the phone. So I wanted to not only just go by my opinion of the Ford charger, which as you can tell is not too high, I actually wanted to try and do some tests. I first let my phone run down to 0 and turn off, and then I put the phone on the charging pad, let it turn itself on and start charging. And I got to tell you, at 20% state of charge, the phone just stopped charging. It was still on the charging pad. The car was stationary, so I know the phone did not move at all from the time I put it on the charger and it started charging. But the Ford charging solution, for whatever reason, caused the phone to just stop charging. The main purpose of this charging pad is to keep my phone charged when I put it on there, and it's not doing that. All right, so now I've complained enough about the problem I have with the Ford charging pad itself. Let's talk about the solution from Twraps, which I'm hoping is going to be better than the Ford charging pad. Shouldn't be too hard. This is a new charging pad from a company called Twraps, and you'll see it's precisely formed to fit in the center console spot in the Mach-E. It's got a 3D printed, what looks like plastic piece. It's actually quite heavy, and you'll see it has 2 levels to the piece. It has one level towards the front of the piece, and then one level towards the back underneath where the screen is. And it has 2 Magsafe-compatible charging pucks on it, and 1 USB-C cable that's of a precise length at the end. So this is actually perfectly measured to fit in the center console. I've taken out the rubberized pad that comes with the Mach-E, and I've put this in instead, and I'm plugging it in, as you can see here, to the USB-C port on the Mach-E. So you'll see the pad is in the car, and you can see the wires in the back there, or the wire that's connected into the charging pad. And once it's in, the pad looks to be like it's meant to come with the car. It has the same color as the rest of the Mach-E center console interior there. And it's just actually a pretty convenient and clean looking solution. But what really matters is how the iPhone charges on this pad. So I'm going to take my iPhone here. I have a MagSafe-compatible case on the back that you can see. And I'm going to just drop it in. And you'll see it locked in to the position that is closest to me. It doesn't move unless I really want it to. And it's charging the phone. When I want to pick it up, I can easily pick it up. And the pad doesn't lift up with the phone because it's got enough weight and heft to the pad itself that it stays in place without having to use any tape to secure it. But the phone lifts up easily. And it not only has one place, it has 2 places for your phone. So you can charge 2 phones at the same time, and they both lock in MagSafe pucks. So that's kind of how it works, but how does it charge? Let's find out. So I got to say, I did both objective and subjective tests with the Twraps solution. Objectively, I put the phone with 0% charge on the Twraps pad, just like I did with the pad from Ford. And from 0% and the phone off, it charged to 35% nonstop without any stoppages, without stopping and being interrupted. It only stopped when I took it off the pad, and it charged from 0 to 35% in 91 minutes. Now you can do faster with other wireless chargers, but they're not as cool and built into the interior of the Mach-E, and they don't look as custom made for the interior as this solution does. Now subjectively, I've driven around with this thing for 2 weeks plus in my car. I've used it in many different situations, and it's always worked to charge the phone. It's never failed working, and in situations where I've been using CarPlay to both do navigation and music at the same time, it's not only kept the phone charged or not losing any charge, but it's added in energy despite the phone using a lot of energy to run CarPlay. So it is definitely suited for the purpose, and if you just look at it for its intended use that you would hire it for or buy it for, which is charging your phone as you drive and while you use the phone to do CarPlay, this thing definitely works compared with the Ford charger and what came with your car, which absolutely does not. Now, Twraps also makes a similar solution to this for the Rivian R1S and R1T. And for those models, which they came out with first before making this for the Mach-E, they also sell some custom wraps that you can put on top of the charging pad in order to add some flair to your interior and to the pad. They have ones like wood grain and carbon fiber, vinyl, and they also have a imitation leather pleather version. And I tried that for the Mach-E, and it sort of fit in with the interior, but it actually was thick material and it interfered with the operation of the MagSafe charging pad itself. It didn't hold the phone as securely. So I don't recommend when they come out with the skins that at least you go for the leather option, because that really didn't work too well for me. All right, so the Twraps thing is pretty good, but it's not perfect. Here's the downsides that I think the thing has. First is the cost. This thing is not cheap. It's expensive at $100 plus tax. You could get 2 Apple MagSafe chargers, which are outrageously priced at $40 a piece, and still have changeover to get basically more charging in your car rather than this Twrap solution. Of course, it would look pretty ugly. All right, second, this thing looks like it came from the factory. However, it doesn't preserve all the functionality that you get in the center console stock from Ford, in that it doesn't have provisions for storing some content, some cargo, some things, some items that you want to have easy access to, like your sunglasses. You have to kind of put them over the charging pad or one of the charging pads if you're not using it, and they kind of flop around there because it doesn't really have any kind of rubber pad or felt to hold them in place. So you lose some of the cargo capacity and capability you have in order to commit to using this pad. Third, of course, in terms of disadvantages, is that this only works with the iPhone. This doesn't, and this isn't really made for Android phones. I think an Android phone will charge on it, but it won't, flop around too much because there's nothing to kind of guide it and keep it in place. Android phones stock don't have MagSafe magnets on them. Still, the camera bump and other things that are just really specifically made for the iPhone may or may not work with an Android phone. So if you have an Android, I probably wouldn't jump in and spend $100 for this charger. And finally, there is charging speed, right? This is not the fastest way to charge your phone, but I found for most situations that this is more than adequate to keep my phone charged up and to charge it if it's getting low, especially if I'm taking a long drive. It's relatively low friction to put your phone down, and while it's not the fastest in charging, it is a pretty elegant solution. All right, guys, here's some pros and cons that I found with the Twraps charging pad. So 3 pros. First, it charges 2 phones at once at a consistent charging speed. Secondly, it does so while maintaining the phone over the coils and making sure it doesn't move while you drive. And 3, it looks completely stock, like it should have come from the factory like this. So it looks great in the car. All right, guys, but it does come with some drawbacks. Here's 4 of them. First, it's kind of expensive at $100. Secondly, it only charges the iPhone. It's really made for the iPhone. If you have an Android phone, I really wouldn't recommend this. It's probably not worth it for it. Third, it doesn't really charge at a very high charging speed. There's higher charging options out there. And fourth, it only comes in a 2 charger configuration. So even if you only want to be able to charge 1 phone at a time, you have to get the item that has 2 in it. And you lose kind of the cargo space that you have in this center console area that you do have with the Ford charger. You don't really have that with this one. So in the end, I think this is a really slick solution to charge your iPhone while keeping the interior of your car looking slick, clean, and pretty stock. I hope this video has helped you, and I hope you're having some fun adventures in your car. I'll see you on the next one.